Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, I am here to give you some tips on the 5 things you must not do in Italy. And I'm saying these kind of in a very straightforward and direct fashion. It may seem harsh, but I'm doing you a favor, guys. So here we go. Hold on. The first one is public drunkenness and drunk driving, okay? So public drunkenness is highly frowned on in the communities in Italy. And it may seem like it's okay if you go to Florence, let's say, and you see groups of Americans or other nationalities there getting loud and getting drunk. It may look like it's accepted, but it's not. These waiters are tolerating it, but let me tell you something. The Italians that I have met and that I know highly frown on public drunkenness. It is not a thing over there, so please don't do it. If you must get drunk, stay in your house and get drunk. Now, drunk driving is another thing, and that will get you ostracized faster than anything else. Drunk driving puts all of us at risk, all of our communities, all of our people, all of our family members, and anybody unfortunate enough to be on the roads while you're driving drunk. Now, the drunk driving laws in Italy are quite severe, and depending on how much you've had to drink, and I've seen some people drink a lot to where they're waving while they're walking and get in their car and drive. Well, I'll tell you something. If your blood alcohol limit is high enough, you can have not only heavy fines, you can also be put in jail, you can also have your car confiscated, and a host of all kinds of unpleasant scenarios that could play out for you. So, as a warning, don't drive drunk. Get somebody to drive you or stay in a hotel or whatever you gotta do, but most of all, don't go somewhere and start drinking, or worse, start drinking at home, go somewhere else and drink some more, and then expect to drive home. It's not a thing over there. It is highly illegal, and it's really, really frowned upon. Now, I have heard certain people say, well, I drive really slowly and I'm very careful. I've been driving drunk all my life, all that kind of stuff. Look, we've all driven past the guy who's driving 2 miles an hour like this down a country road. You pass him up and you look at the guy. Obviously, he thinks he's doing fine, but it always shows. It shows to us, it shows to our neighbors, and it shows to the carabinieri. So word to the wise, don't do it. The second thing is brutta figura, which is the opposite of bella figura. And a lot of people think bella figura is just dressing nice and being clean and whatnot. It does have to do with that, but it also has to do with certain manners and niceties and cultural things that are slightly different than in the US. So when you give your word, that is something that is very, very much a bella/brutta figura thing. And it can be in things having to do with business. Now, in California where I live, most of the time we deal with businesses that are like larger businesses. The rental car companies are like Hertz and Avis and whatever else. However, in the small towns in the middle of Italy or Calabria or whatever, many of the businesses are mom and pop businesses. So for a good example is I was trying to help a client get a car. And so I worked through a friend of mine who knew somebody who had a car rental business, again, a mom and pop, and we arranged to have the car delivered to the person and everything else. Well, then the person a few days before, well, I don't need the car. And that put me in a horrible situation because they had already reserved this car. They were planning on giving it to the person. They were planning on the income coming in, and it was a big upset. And I actually learned at that point, I'm not reserving cars for anybody. I send them over to Maggiore and Priamare and let them deal with it, because while it may be no big deal here to cancel appointment or cancel plans or whatever, it's a big deal in the smaller communities where they have mostly mom and pop businesses. So keep that in mind as you go, that things are different down there, and brutta figura can be subtle and it may change from region to region, but keeping your word once given is really, really important down there, even if it doesn't seem like a big deal. Now, of course, if you have an emergency and you explain that it's an emergency, chances are that everything's going to be fine. When something like that happens, I offer to pay them a little bit of money because I know that they've put things aside and may not be able to book them out at such short notice. Do as you see fit, but definitely keep that in mind as a brutta bella figura thing. The third thing is canceling plans, especially if you're going to somebody's house for dinner. It is a big, big deal. And many times they will just cook all day just to give you a beautiful meal with their family. It is really an honor to be invited to a dinner or a lunch with a family in Italy, because you know those ladies go all out, ladies and the gentlemen go all out in trying to create a beautiful meal for you. And if you cancel plans, you know, chances are you're a little bit of a celebrity in the village because you're, you know, American and you're there, and it's a big disappointment. So if you don't think you can make it, or you're not sure you can make it, or you have trouble being out late in the evening and you get tired, make sure you communicate that with your host or hostess and say, look, if it's not too much trouble for you, I can't commit right now, but I will let you know the day before or something like that. Or even suggest, let's do lunch instead. It's just so much easier because I know I'll be fresh and good at that point. So that's one thing to do too, kind of keep that in mind. But if you give your word that you're gonna be there, you know, even if you have to drag your butt out of the bed and put on some lipstick, go. And chances are once you get there, you'll feel revived and happy anyway, because who wants to miss a beautiful Italian meal? The fourth thing is not even attempting to learn Italian. And it's a disservice to yourself, first and foremost, but secondly, it's disrespectful. I'll just be honest with you. If you're in an Italian community where Italian is mostly spoken, it's expected that you learn their language. You're in the community now, you're part of the community now, you should speak the language. I know a lot of people have trouble learning a new language, but all you have to do is try. If they see that you're trying and you're throwing out some Italian words, or you're ordering in Italian, or say, no, I don't want the English menu, give me the Italian one, they really, really appreciate that, because that shows an effort to be part of the community, to be in communication, in agreement, and in affinity with the community if you try to learn a language. And it can be the most brutally chopped up Italian. I've seen some real good whoppers there where somebody's tried to speak it, and sometimes me, where it's like blah, 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 and they just laugh and they go, okay, good. They correct you and it's all good. Don't worry about looking like an idiot. I have found in life that anytime you learn something new as a beginner, you're gonna look silly for a while. There you go. And the last one is the us and them mentality. Us meaning American expats or whatever, and them meaning the locals. First of all, it's never us and them if you move into or even visit a new community. It's only ever us. And that is true throughout the world. It is always us, okay? If you have that viewpoint, you're gonna make an effort to understand people, you're gonna make an effort to be involved, and people can feel and perceive that. Now, I've only had the us and them mentality with a few people. Unfortunately, I can be very direct, and I'll be direct right now. The us and them mentality, a little bit bigoted, sorry, and I've only ever seen it in people that have said bigoted remarks against the local Italians or whatever. So understand that for what it is. If you're gonna be in somebody else's community, even for a little while, you have to adopt the it's only us mentality. So I hope this helps you guys. I'm telling you things that others may not tell you. Probably the Italians will never tell you because they don't want to be brutta figura either. But you got to hear it from someone, and someone who cares enough about you to clue you in on all of the scoop and the cultural stuff and the things that I've seen and experienced. So hopefully it's helpful. Stay tuned. See you soon.